Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the double-header recap of the final stage of the Giro d'Auvergne and the opening stage of the Tour Auvergne Rhône-Alpes. We will use the correct nomenclature here on the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast. I hand to God, I was doing the recap video. That's why it's a little bit late. I wanted to get the recap video up, and I called it the Dauphiné in the recap video, and luckily I could edit it out 5 times. So
yeah, because ASO wouldn't be happy, I think.
It's going to take a while to adjust, I think. It's like, what's the lag time when a team change? Like, how long until we're calling Ineos Net Company Ineos off the top?
I called Visma Lotto and Jumbo like 2 months ago. So
I have so many people call Visma Young. Yeah. It's a 3-year lag. That's what we're going to have to work with. We're going to open with the Giro d'Auvergne. It was by far the best race to watch today. We unfortunately didn't have full coverage, and then we'll move on to the Dauphiné recap. But this final stage of the Giro women was so good. From Saluzzo to Saluzzo, 145k loop. They go west and do like a long climb, the Montoso, after an hour of flat. It's a hard climb, 9k's, 9%. Very, very difficult. Category 1. Descent, valley, 3.5k, 6% climb. Then a long valley, 30k valley. Before the Cat 2, 5k, 7.5%. Not that hard. Also not that easy. And then they have another valley, like 30k's. Yeah, 33 kilometers with an intermediate sprint in it for a flat finish. It is the perfectly designed ambush stage.
But what did GC look like? Because that's important, right? We had Anna van der Breggen in the lead of GC going into the stage, and that is because of that team time trial she had earlier this week, and the gaps were the following. Let me open it as we speak. We had in second place Demi Vollering on 49 seconds, and in third place Niedermayer with 1 minute 20. There's also Holmgren on 155 and so forth, but it's really about those 3 riders in this recap. Van der Breggen, and 49 seconds to Vollering, and 1 minute 20 to Niedermayer. And that's going to become important here because, like you said, like you pointed out when it comes to the parkour, the hardest portion of the stage is in the first half. The Montoso climb is hard. And we said yesterday, if Demi Vollering and FDJ Suez still want to win this race, they have to blow the roof of this race on that climb, try to isolate Van den Breggen, so they have to get rid of Cavallard, for example, on that climb, and make sure she's out of the picture. And on paper, Dixon is better than Cavallard based on the last week of racing we've seen. That was the thought process going into this race. Now, I was also of the opinion that if the gaps were not made at the top of the Montoso climb, I didn't expect it to happen in the last 60% of this race. And let's just say that it's pretty wrong about that. And I'm happy to be wrong about this because today's race ended up being one of the most entertaining races of the entire year, for sure.
We had no coverage, unfortunately, before the, valley. Did we have coverage on that 3K 6%er? Not even.
No, we had a recap highlight at the start of the footage, and we started in the valley after that second climb.
Okay, yeah, so we did miss what happened to Montoso. It appeared to be basically FDJ setting a hard pace with Dixon. No break had gone, so there was no satellite riders like with Finestra. Not that they would have been useful on Finestra because there was the ice sheet incident. And it's down to 10 riders. It's the same riders, Holmgren, Royce, De Vries, Longoborghini, Niedermayer. Same sort of 10 best climbers. A few more drop, goes down to 7. Royce is struggling. I'm not sure if Holmgren was still there at that time.
I think she was.
I think she was still there, and then it was later she had issues.
Cavallard was gone, though, and I think she was in the first group, right? Am I wrong in saying that? Cavallard was not present at the top of the climb, right?
Not that I could see, no.
Okay.
But she wasn't
far. That's
an
important factor.
We had coverage. I think she came back with Dixon because Demi attacked, and then we said, we saw coverage saying that Dixon and Cavallard were attacking, so there was some weird, lack of control. Van der Breggen just refused to let her team, take control of any of these stages. Not that they really could have, but I don't know, it seemed to be strange from the ticker.
From my perspective, I don't think there was anything as D-Works as a team could have done to keep control of the situation. Because FDJ Suez has the strongest second best rider in their team. Dixon is better than Cavallard. So if FDJ Suez decides to open up on Montoso, then there's no way that it's not just Van der Breggen at the top, unless Cavallard has a great day, which she probably still had a good day, but she wasn't there at the top of the climb. So to be honest, I wasn't too shocked at like the group dynamic or the leftover riders in that group at the top of that climb. It's now that we're like trying to piece together what actually happened based on the fact that our ticker suddenly changed, Patrick. Just before the broadcast started, our ticker went from, oh, this race looks absolutely boring because, okay, race must be over because the gap was not made on the climb, to, wait a second, Voting and Anna van der Breggen are suddenly 2 minutes 24 behind the front of the race? What happened?
Exactly. I was like, no, it's a glitch. It's obviously incorrect. I was like, no, it's incorrect. How could that have happened? We then see like a recorded replay of basically Niedermeyer, who's in third on GC. She's on 120. She's 30 seconds behind Demi, 25 seconds behind Demi in GC.
31.
She literally just like, and she got no kick. She literally just rides off the front.
Yeah,
just rides off the front. Like in slow motion.
Does not respond. No response by Van der Breggen. No response by Voting. There is an attempt at that moment by Fisher Black to like jump towards it, but then there is actually one of the two, I think it might have been Van der Breggen on the wheel. So she gets a small gap, and then later we see two riders jumping towards it, which is Elisa Longo-Borghini plus Niamh Fisher Black once again. So we have three riders up the road, and based on the snippets of highlights we had at the start of the broadcast, the next step was Voting and Van der Breggen looking at each other. And am I wrong in suggesting that at this moment, it looked like Dixon and De Vries went up the road while Anna van der Breggen and Voting were looking at each other in the third group?
So FDJ were happy to bail out Van der Breggen. Van der Breggen had no teammates, but FDJ were happy to like bail her out by pacing with Dixon, except Van der Breggen kept dropping the wheel of Dixon, who was controlling the gap to Niedermeyer for her.
And
that's how she kept getting gaps. It happened multiple times in valleys that Dixon rode away.
Yeah, but the confusing thing to me is even before the broadcast started, the fact that Dixon and De Vries were in front of the group of Voting and Anna van der Breggen before we even get to the point where Dixon ends up pacing for Voting. Because if we step back from the race for a second, Patrick, Anna van der Breggen is in the Maglia Rosa. Voting right now has not been able to put any proper gap on a climb up on Anna van der Breggen. So Brain says the only strategy for Voting to win this race is if FDJ Suez, Dixon, and Voting put Anna van der Breggen in a position where she has to do all the riding behind Niedermeyer, because Niedermeyer is getting the Maglia Rosa virtually at this point in the race. So if you force Van der Breggen to spend all her bickies in the valley, then maybe you can drop her on the next climb. That was my thought process here. They don't actually do that here. Because like you said, FDJ Suez keeps bailing out Anna van der Breggen, keeps riding her back into the virtual Maglia Rosa. The second the time goes to 1 minute 50, they bring it back to 1 minute 20. It didn't look to me like Van der Breggen was relaying super hard either though.
Nah.
But we would later on the next climb learn why, right?
Exactly. And what the problem is, they've let the worst group composition go. Like, why is it so bad? Niedermeyer knows she can't win the stage. She's riding into the virtual Maglia Rosa. Longo-Borghini's far back enough on GC that she isn't going to play Niedermeyer for her GC position. She's going to pull maybe for podium and to guarantee a stage win. Fisher Black is also far enough back that she can pull. She's taking time on Holmgren and Reusser, who are gone at this point. Reusser lost like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Holmgren lost 6 minutes. She fell in GC. They're taking time on De Vries, who didn't react on the two riders in the group behind her on GC. When they attacked on the flat, she's now in a chasse patate in the middle. So all three have a full incentive to pull full. And then, yeah, Demi and Van der Breggen are just staring at each other. It was really tense. It was like you could not look away from the last 60Ks of this race. Or the 50K period of this race, you could not look away.
Yeah, for sure. And we're now getting closer towards the, I would say, second last climb, but the last proper climb of this stage, which is, I think, 5K, 7% or something is my rough assumption of this. And we basically see what we just said, which is Dixon pacing, Van der Breggen doing a few relays, Voting doing quite a few relays. FDJ Suez is doing more work than Van der Breggen. despite Van der Breggen being the one that's actually in deep shit right now, because her Malia Rosa is being caught away by Niedermayer, and we start closing in towards that climb, and once we hit that climb, Dixon starts pacing properly without anyone taking over, and that's when FDJ Suez switches to the exact strategy that I want to see from them, which is, first of all, Dixon goes off the front, but Vollering does not do any relays from this point onwards with Van der Breggen. And I think this is maybe a full 2 kilometers on this climb roughly, where Van der Breggen is literally just pacing at the front of the group, Vollering in the wheel, not taking over at all. And that's kind of a situation that FDJ Suez should be forcing it, because you want Van der Breggen to spend her blade before you spend yours trying to drop Van der Breggen to then bridge yourself. And that's kind of what happens on this climb. And
the big counter comes, and it was actually the hairpin. It was like when Pogacar got rid of Vingegaard on the Galibier in 24, and Van der Breggen was holding. Van der Breggen responded to the attack of Demi, not even in the wheel. I thought she was like trying to do like an alpha thing, like from like an Instagram alpha boot camp coach, because she was legit sprinting side by side with Demi. I was like, but draft is also good. And it turned out draft would have been good, because then they go around the hairpin. Demi sees she's on a little gap, takes the corner better, bang, bang out of the saddle. Huge gap. Elastic snaps. We haven't seen that all race.
Exactly. The gap goes from a meter in that corner to 20 seconds in no time. Anne van der Breggen had a bit of a blow up in this segment of the race. And then over the top of the climb, the gap goes to 25 seconds. And it stays around that for the descent of the climb. But then once we get to the valley, it starts expanding again. And just to be clear, at this point, we are looking at a situation where actually the gap from Niedermayer to... At this point, everybody's closing GC.
Three riders can conceivably win GC still.
Exactly. Niedermayer in the front group, Vollering in between, Van der Breggen in the first series group, but she's losing time to Vollering. She's at this moment not necessarily losing much time to the front group, but she's stagnated.
Yes.
Which, it's still 3 riders at the front, 3v1, not exactly the greatest situation to be in if you're Anne van der Breggen. So we see Vollering gradually coming close to the front of the race, and we see Van der Breggen losing time to Vollering and starting to lose time to the front of the race, and it starts to become clear that Van der Breggen is losing time as a whole, and if this trend continues, she's definitely losing the Malia Rosa to Niedermayer, but even more because Vollering is getting closer to Niedermayer. We're coming to the point where Vollering enters the Malia Rosa in the last 30 kilometers of this race, and yes, there's the intermediate sprint, which gives 642 bonus seconds that Niedermayer actually gifts away, which low-key a bit surprising there. And I felt like Niedermayer wasn't exactly pulling all out to try and keep Vollering behind. Sprint. Okay.
I don't know how she felt in the moment. I'm not saying it would have made a difference. The perceived exertion of Niedermayer when Demi was on 30 seconds was really strange.
Yes.
Like, she has to win the race. She can win the race. You cannot let Demi back. It's all flat to the finish. You cannot let Demi back. Demi's going to ride full to the finish. And maybe if you convince, hey, Longa Borghini, we shouldn't let Demi back, because then the stage win, like me and Niamh Fisher-Black are not going to beat you in that. I just felt like she wasn't pulling full, like I'm talking death pull, win the race, Malia Rosa, pull full to keep Demi behind.
I wasn't seeing that, and I kind of expected that. But on the other hand, I have noticed in the last 5 days of racing that Niedermayer has this poker face where I really can't tell when she can't pull anymore. But today it felt like it wasn't that,
Because Demi came back, Demi's fucked, Demi takes a short pull, and then Niedermayer strongly rolls over her and says, get out of the way, I'll keep pulling with you. I was like, but you should be gassed because you shouldn't let Demi come back, because now the Malia Rosa, you can't win the race anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But it was a great move she did in the valley before. And listen, she's been up the road for an hour. She might be cooked.
And especially it was a good move because, to me, the most confusing part about that move by Niedermayer is, well, no, it's not that confusing, because at that point in the race, Dixon was still dropped from the top of the climb, is my assumption. So FDJ Suez didn't have the 2 riders there. Otherwise, I assume Dixon would have responded better to Niedermeyer there, I wouldn't have just let her go.
I watched the replay. If Dixon's there, then it was crazy.
I don't think Dixon was there. I tried to look at the top of the climb, and I didn't see any of the Jesuits rider next to Vollering at the top of the climb. We'd have no footage of the valley, so of the descent, so it's hard to conclude from there.
Got dropped on the descent.
Yes, but I said it earlier. You glossed over it because you thought I was talking about a different moment. But after that descent, after Niedermeyer went, there's literally a moment where, according to the ticker at least, De Vries and Dixon had a minute on Vollering and Anna van der Breggen.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Then De Vries gets stuck in the Chasse Patate. Then there's the 3K 6% climb. De Vries drops Dixon, or Dixon then waits for Demi. And then Dixon pulls Demi back to De Vries in the next valley.
Yeah, has to be that, right?
I think so. So
Anyway. Last, 15 kilometers at this point? I do feel like the group relayed a little bit more with Vollering than they probably should have, because Fischer Black and Longoborghini have no podium possibilities anymore at this point in the race. The gap is 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes to the podium, and the riders that are on the podium are the ones that are relatively close to them. That said, in the last 10K, Vollering was basically doing 90% of the work, right?
Yeah, she was still doing all the work. ELB is making sure she's going to win the stage. And that's what happens. ELB wins the stage. Fisher Black follows her through, but finishes second. Niedermeyer finishes third. Does take 4 bonies. Demi pull full gas. So she finishes fourth, unsurprisingly. And they take a big gap.
Yeah.
When De Vries got back to Van der Breggen in the valley, like Van der Breggen could barely pull. She was full cracked. De Vries and her finish on 2 minutes 23. 7th place finishes on 6 minutes. Group of Halset, Dixon, Holmgren and Valliers. Holmgren loses time. Then De Schepper, Zigart, the AG insurance riders, are in 7:17. GC completely turned on its head. Demi moves into first, finishing 30 seconds ahead of Niedermeyer, who finishes second. Van der Breggen goes to third on 1:37, and holds on to the podium by 1 minute and 7 to Longoborghini, who moves from 7th to 4th. Fisher Black 8th to 5th on 3:26. De Vries stays put because, 2 leapfrogged her, 2 went below her. Holmgren then 7th, Zigart 8th, Cavallard 9th, and De Schepper 10th. I think this stage and the other medium mountain stage and even the mountain TT provided some outstanding racing, I have to say. The GC stages in this race were outstanding.
Yeah, if I have to think about my best races of the year so far, I would think of women's Strade Bianche. I would say men's Roubaix and men's MSR are up there. And this is up there as well. So those are the 4 that come to mind. Yes, stage 5 was good, but not as good as this stage for me, because this was an ultimate twist that Vollering was able to snap Van der Breggen off her wheel on that second last-ish climb. I really enjoyed today's stage. And if anything, it could have been an even bigger banger if we actually saw what happened on the first climb, because that's the biggest shame right now, because we had the biggest selection happen off camera. We had a bit of highlights of what happened before we got to the situation we were in, which makes us able to kind of fragment it together. But if we can live those in the moment, those moments in the future, I would enjoy this a lot more than I did as well.
At a minimum, publish the local recording of the file of the recorded footage.
Yep.
Because I remember I made the Egan Bernal Passo Fedaya unseen footage video. Like they locally recorded the Passo Fedaya in 21 Giro. Like they were obviously recording images today. Like that's the frustrating. Somewhere on some hard drive, there is footage of the climb today. And
because otherwise they can't have the highlights.
That was chopped up by somebody. That was chopped up from the recorded images, and it just will be never seen.
It's actually quite depressing.
You just need one 18-year-old intern, take it off, bang, crop it, YouTube, done.
Anyway, Longoborghini winning at stage, super happy for her. But Demi Vollering winning this Giro d'Italia women, I think Anna van der Breggen has won like 3 or 4 of these already in the past, if I recall correctly. So she can afford to lose one. But it was definitely I don't think Anna van der Breggen did much wrong today outside of her legs not being good enough, except for maybe those moments where she should have stayed on the wheel of Dixon, where you were pointing it out. But tactically, I don't think SD-Works did major things wrong today.
They couldn't get a satellite rider ahead, not realistic. So you can't be like, why didn't you have a satellite rider for the Valley? Not realistic. Cavalier was dropped. She didn't pace too much because she refused to pace at all, which could have been a mistake, but it actually wasn't a mistake because FDJ just paced with Dixon.
And maybe she would have exploded even more if she did pace.
Did she pace too much on the? Was she not? She should have been more defensive in the wheel on the last climb, perhaps.
Well, once Dixon went off the front and if Vollering then doesn't want to take over, then you have the choice of either pacing with her in the wheel to prevent her from attacking, or not pacing, which Vollering will then attack, but then it starts stop. Is that better or worse for Van der Breggen? I don't know in that situation.
Maybe that's the only small error. She should just immediately on the climb be like, I'm not getting dropped by you.
Yeah.
The problem is if Demi doesn't drop her on the climb and she doesn't pace and they stall and the gap goes to 150 again,
yeah,
I think then Demi would be like, I'm not pulling you back to Niedermeyer after the final climb.
Yeah.
So I think Van der Breggen was up against a rock and hard place today, but very, very entertaining. I'm my appetite, consider it increased for the Tour de France fam.
That is for sure. And I think Demi Vollering has now won the Vuelta, Tour de France and Giro d'Italia, so has done the treble in similar fashion as Jonas earlier this season throughout her career. That said, Patrick, I cannot wait for the Demi Vollering AI-generated LinkedIn post.
Yes. That's also what I cannot wait for this week.
Anyway, shall we hop over to...
We gotta stop the AI graphics and everything in cycling. Just do a hand-drawn doodle, just anything.
Remember when Pedersen drew something himself as like the start lists for the Tour de France or something for Little Trek? That was great.
Okay, that was the Giro Donnac. On the other hand, we had the Tour Auvergne Rhône-Alpes Stage 1. Somewhat unusually, we have a Stage 3 team time trial, which nobody likes because your riders can crash out or get sick before the race. And it also, I think, had the effect today of making the race a bit more passive. And although, so let me describe the stage. Hardest stage I've ever seen in the Dauphiné Stage 1. 150 Ks and a whole lot of climbing, 3,000 meters climbing. We have some steep climbs, and the main climb is the Côte du Rousset, 8.3K, 7.5%. It's not that hard, but it's hard enough. And from the top, it's 22K to the finish, short valley of 8 kilometers from the last descent. That's not enough to put off Paul Seichas. If you look at his Basque Country opening road stage, it is basically the same stage. It is really it's the same climb, descent, it's all the same. Where he basically put a minute into everybody. And on the interviews this morning, I heard a lot of passiveness from people. We don't want to spend the team before the TTT. And Seichas was talking about not defending the jersey. And like, why are we talking about giving the jersey away in 1 week races, Benji? That is not a thing. That's not a thing.
So basically, just to like contextualize the interview, the way I interpreted it was Seichas said that he doesn't necessarily want the jersey as a team on stage 1. Perhaps to not have to control massively tomorrow is my assumption there. But on the other hand, spoilers, they ended up controlling the large majority of today's stage regardless of not having the jersey yet.
Control.
Well,
tomorrow.
That's a bit tricky if you're the favorite.
Well, then the jersey doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter what color jersey you have on. You're the favorite, so you have to control.
That's my point there. But on the other hand, the added factor is Riccitello is out of the race before this race even began.
True.
From food poisoning, or at least went into the stage with food poisoning and then abandoned halfway through. I assume that the food poisoning came so late that they couldn't get a substitute in before the race started. Then the secondary follow-up is Seichas also mentioned that for that team time trial, they want to limit the tiredness of their riders. That's how I interpreted it, at least, towards that team time trial, which I do get the point there a little bit. It's, to be honest, I've been very much against team time trials being beyond stage 1 in a stage race ever. I think that's stupid. So that's one thing, because What if 5 riders crash of the same team today, like at the Giro with the UAE, and 3 of their riders abandoned, 2 are injured?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, even 2 or 3. Like, what if? Well, yeah. What if? And it's the key. What if Bissiger and Dan Holer get taken out by some road furniture today?
Yeah. So we like, sure, we have the different rules in the team time trial at the Dauphiné, where it's the time of the first rider that counts, or at least the time of each individual rider counts, versus the normal TTT rules where it's the time of the 4th rider that counts. So you don't have that aspect of a team time trial, so you don't necessarily need 4 riders to ride the team time trial, but it's still dumb to have it that late. But
I think,
yeah.
I think Luke Rose got to Seychelles. I think he's got to him.
What do you mean by that, sir?
I think their takeaway from Basque Country was too aggressive early, which caused him to not be as dominant later in the race. Yeah, my takeaway from Basque Country is taking time good. Good legs take time, make easier defense later.
I would adapt your take a little bit. First of all, the way you said it, you sound like I don't know, like King Kong.
Who's the little green man in Star Wars?
Yoda.
Yeah.
Who's the little green man in Star Wars? A lot of little green men these days. You got Grogu as well, but that's a different story. But that said, your take was basically taking time early is just as valuable as taking time later in the race. And on top of that, in the second half of Basque Country, what they should take away is there's no one in pole 6 attacking in the leader's jersey halfway the stage.
Yeah.
Where that's where the problem lies in Basque Country.
Put the reins on Lalassu there. You hold him back a little bit there. I'm looking here. Isn't he like 2 tiers better than everyone else uphill here?
On paper, yes.
Like Del Toro is.
Yeah. I know you don't consider Del Toro a climber on your climbing classification. It's pretty solid at UAE Tour in the end, but Seychelles is better in general.
Del Toro never did a 20-minute performance like Seychelles did in Ardèche, for example. Correct. And if you have a weak team as well, the most straightforward way to control the race is actually to make a selection. Even if you don't drop everybody, if you have 3 or 4 guys with you, it's actually more straightforward to control.
Patrick, I'm sorry, I have to police you. Aaron Smith in chat says that wrong subject and predicate order for Yoda. It was more like Neanderthal talk. I'm sorry.
I don't even know how Yoda really speaks. I just like...
so you're culturally appropriating Yoda's species.
You're supposed to put the words the wrong way around with Yoda, I know. But anyway, it's...
You but I didn't
think any of that mattered. So basically, there's a long break fight. Baudin gets in there with a tug buddy. I should have my tug buddy t-shirt on. I think it was McKellar?
Yeah, Alistair McKellar.
Alistair McKellar was in there with Baudin. Baudin is by far the best climber in the break. I was thinking they do need to keep this tight because...
Wait. Disrespect to your clubhouse member, Brazafonso.
No, I'm sorry. Baudin was 5th on the Nice stage in Paris-Nice and came 9th in GC. He was 9th in Basque Country, and that stage I just spoke to you about, where Seychelles attacked in Basque Country, he was with the Schelmoser Roglic Tullet group, and he finished 6th, just behind, or not just behind.
Was he also not fighting for the white jersey in the Giro d'Italia? Was it last year or the year before, where Keon was still fighting for the white jersey? 2024?
Oh, you could be right. Yeah, you're right. He was good until this 3rd week.
Anyway, that to the side.
The point is, he's a really good climber. He's in the breakaway. Decathlon have got him on a tight leash, though. They've got him. They're smashing it. We see Van Aert dropping on just a 2K 10% climb from a group of 60. Clearly not in good shape. Almeida drops early, but he said to everybody that he was just here to get some racing in. And we get to the final climb, 30 seconds. So the stage wind's still in play, and then Sivakov just starts pacing. Decathlon don't take control.
When the gap is 30 seconds, it's not just still in play. The breakaway has no hands on the victory right now. The peloton is winning the stage with that time gap, is the normal projection of a stage. Decathlon's not doing anything. We see Sivakov going to the front, like you say, and setting, it's a Sivakov tempo. I don't mean that too disrespectfully, but we've seen in the last year and a half not the craziest domestique work from him. So the time gap just keeps going up. 35 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds. And the decathlon does move up maybe into like P2, P3 with 6,000 and then second wheel. And we do see people dropping like Bilbao. Armirai takes over for Visma, where we then see, I think Daniel Felipe Martinez temporarily dropping, but returning. Pablo Torres and Healy, I think, dropping.
Alan Johannesson.
The gap then moves up to a minute. By the way, Johannesson dropping there was a shocker to me. I wasn't expecting that.
It's a group of 40 still.
But then I was thinking, okay, the peloton's gifting the victory to Baudin is a situation right now. Nobody seemingly wants to win today's stage except Baudin. And I was looking at other teams now outside of the decathlon of, if you attack with your GC rider, Sixas will respond. If you attack with the domestique, who maybe can bridge towards Baudin, you can have a chance at winning the stage. And UAE actually bites that perfectly because they attack with Vermarke. Vermarke couldn't actually do it though. Baudin's a better climber than Vermarke, even though Vermarke was on pretty good level today. And maybe it was too close to the top in the first place. But Baudin goes over the top with what? Still a minute 50 seconds over the second group?
A minute 6 on Vermarke and a minute 15 on the peloton.
Bruh.
Fast descent, and then it's only a 7K valley. They're not catching him back.
On paper, no, but then the action kicks off 1K before the top. We see attacks by Pare Pancha and so forth. Nothing happens there, to be clear. We get into the downhill, and there's splits starting to occur in the downhill. I'm not actually sure who lost the wheel here or there, but am I correct in saying that suddenly a first group starts existing with only Vokalin, Plap, Armirai, Tollet, and so forth, and Sixas and Del Toro are in the second group?
On the descent? No. Saishas nuked the descent.
Okay.
Saishas smashed the descent. They get to the bottom of the valley. Del Toro, Vermarke's still ahead, but there's no camera with him, and Del Toro's like, not my problem. Saishas then and Bizio just sit there. So Bizio doesn't start pacing, and then Rudy Mollard goes bang.
If you're decathlon and you don't want the jersey, hypothetically in their world, then why do you need to pace for the market back?
You don't, I guess.
Like at this point in the race, did you feel like Paul Sixas had cold legs, or did you think he was playing some weird team strategy?
I don't know if he had diarrhea from that the team has. I don't know if it's like a trying to do like 10,000 IQ move, but like I got baked beans on my arm. So maybe I'm not. I shouldn't be talking about other people's race IQs, but I actually don't know. I don't know. Everyone was shocked. It wasn't just like everyone was. You could tell no one knew what to do. Like for 5Ks on the climb, no one knew what to do because everyone thought decathlon, because they kept the gap so tight all day.
Yeah. That's the weird thing, because if you want to save energy, then what's the point in controlling the entire day? On the other hand, if you don't control, the gap might be 5 minutes to Baudin at the end of the day. And Baudin's not horrible at climbing either, even though...
That's if you're going to control, just set him up. But maybe he didn't feel good. Maybe he's also 19, 20 years old, and you can't expect him to be like Pogačar, just drop everybody every day. So that could also be the case. But anyway, attacks start going. Rudy Mollard, and then Luke Plapp smashes it. So Vokalin goes, and so the bigger GC guys start to move. We see Armirail, Vokalin, Plapp, and they just rip it. Only gets onto the back of Armirail coming across. And so Ineos have 2, and it's their 2 best GC leaders. All of a sudden, Tuckwell reacts late with Tullet. All of a sudden, a group has 30 seconds. Del Toro bluffs. So he's like, I got Vermarke ahead. Jorgensen says, I have Tullet ahead. Trek don't have anyone ahead. Decathlon initially bluffed. They said, we have Bizio ahead. And then they're like, oh no, we have Bizio ahead with Ineos 2 GC leaders. That's what happened.
It was not the greatest situation for sure. I also did not understand what Armirai was doing because he was riding in the group of those 2 Ineos riders. I know they've got Tullet there. I don't consider Tullet a GC rider. He's got 12th in Dauphiné as his best World Tour result all time in a stage race. Free Armirai. No, I'm not having that. In this situation,
I agree.
Almirada is objectively worsening the
I agree,
top
because
5
Tullett
podium
wasn't
results of the team.
Tullett wasn't even in the draft. Tullett was chasing on the flat. So I agree.
But
Tuckwell was
to
good.
be honest, I didn't think any of this would matter at the end of the Dauphiné while it was all happening, to be honest.
It was
these
fun and
gaps.
games.
It was fun, but I never considered it a dangerous move with Only and Vokeland necessarily. It went to max half a minute.
I don't know. Ineos are gonna nuke that TTT.
Yeah, but on paper, how much better is Paul Sixas and even Del Toro than at least Vokeland on the climbs? And you keep saying Only. In off-season, you said Only would win the Tour de France.
Yeah, but...
And I haven't seen any of that this year.
We can't pretend like what he's done in spring so far is his real like potential level. He's not 35 years old. He was 4th in the Tour last year on Picnic.
For me, Only is a top 7 rider at this race in terms of GC at the end.
I think if you're Del Toro, you don't want to give Only 30 seconds, and then they take 30 seconds in the TTT.
If we talk about a minute plus, then I agree.
Del Toro, both of them at peak level, Del Toro is not a better climber than Only.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Del Toro would never do what Only did on Cold Lows.
We know what Only's peak level is. I don't see Only getting 10% better from his peak level of Cold Lows. Del Toro, we don't know what his peak career climbing level will be in 2 years.
Oscar Only, I'm coming back into your corner. I was out when it was rainy, but now that it's sunny, I'm back. I have to defend you against Benji.
Against evil Benji. I was getting roasted in December, by the way, for saying that he was not looking likely to win the Tour de France. Why was that a hot take?
Del Toro agrees with me, not you. And so does Paul Seixas and Juan Ayuso. They agree. Actually, Del Toro doesn't agree with me because he was happy with Vermaak to go up the road. He's like, meh, not scared.
Paul Seixas was okay with Bizot going up the road.
No, because Ayuso and Seixas start panicking. And at 2Ks to go, they do a 30-second all-out max effort. So hard it splits the group. Nordhagen and Rodriguez get dropped, actually put on a gap. And anyway, Baudin wins the stage. He deserved it, to be honest. He did the climb 30 seconds quicker than the GC group, which you almost never see. I think last time we saw that was perhaps the Dauphiné 5 years ago, lest we forget. And he wins the stage by 32 seconds. And the group behind was led by Ramses de Bruyne on Alpecin, Bizio, Vermaak, and Mollard, Tullett, Plapp, Tuckwell, Vokeland, Only. Very, very strange. Then Del Toro led the group in behind. Did you know there's no bonus seconds at all in this race?
Weird, huh?
Have we ever covered a World Tour race with no bonies?
I don't think we have. I feel like the bonies versus no bonies conversation was much bigger before we started the podcast in cycling. Like the 2018 era, that was an active discussion in the sport of cycling.
Really?
Yeah, I gotten so used to bonies existing that I haven't thought about what the world would look like if no bonies existed.
You can't have no bonies and then no gaps. We have to have gaps if you're not going to have bonies. Like, we need to bring back gaps. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. How much bonies should we give on a flat sprint stage to make sure sprinters can become a danger for GC?
I do think bonies should be higher. Yeah.
Only for the winner. If you're second or third, I'm sorry, buddy, but...
Exactly.
But wouldn't that be a problem for Visma? Because Pogacar's better at sprinting at the end of Muur de Bretagne. Should the winner of the stage have reduction of seconds?
No, but during the stage, shouldn't we have intermediate sprints that count for like 30 seconds?
Yeah, but we both know the organizers won't put them in a spot where it actually matters.
The Giro Red Bull kilometers, I don't know if it was an AI program or who placed the Giro Red Bull kilometers. I don't think there was one in 21 days that was positioned where GC riders really cared about it, the top ones. It was unbelievable. I've lost my. Oh no, maybe on stage 4 when Christian chopped Pellizzari. That was good.
One and that's it.
Alex Baudin wins. Jonathan Vaughters, the team principal at EF, said they have extended him, which is unsurprising considering how good he was at the start of this year. He's probably been their best GC rider climber, I would say.
Question. For a rider like Alex Baudin, who was within reach of potential World Tour victory within the first 2 years or something of extending that contract, a World Tour win would be a bonus in that contract, is my assumption. What would trigger a breaking open of a contract hypothetically for that level of a rider?
Depends what's in his contract.
Oh, but on average, you think for that kind of rider?
Some like something in a Grand Tour, winning a World Tour 1 week race, podium Grand Tour, not a stage win. Because stage win's kind of, I assume in the contract extension, a stage win in a race like this from the break is expected. Like that is his level. It's not new.
Well, expected is a big word, but that's the goal, the objective of that contract. So I agree with you in that sense. Is there a possibility for a breaking open of the contract based on UCI points?
That can happen, or just like more like an uplift. Could be an uplift. So just you say, okay, if you score 1,500, then you have an uplift next year or bonus for it. UCI points bonuses are obviously all the rage because everyone cares about UCI points now. So like, if you're a pro team wanting to get the annual wild card, you motivate your riders not with win bonuses, but with points bonuses, because then you're actually also going to put them on a farmer schedule, and that keeps them motivated. So, yeah, big win for Baudin, big win for EF. They don't win often, but when they do win, they win pretty big, actually. They've got a Paris, Tirreno, Giro, and Dauphiné stage wins so far this year. So they are a great break hunting team. And
Baudin-wise, it's not just break hunting. Top 10 at Paris, top 10 at Italia Basque Country, to the point that having these 32 seconds, I don't expect the
He'll try. He will try and stay in GC now, 100%.
I'm looking at their team to try and figure out their abilities in the team time trial.
They're always competent teams.
It's going to be fine. Yeah, I think their team time trial.
Baudin should finish top 10 in this race.
Yeah, I expect him to finish top 10 in the Dauphiné, similar to those other World Tour races, to be honest. It's a higher level of competition, though, right? If you go through the start list? Because Paris, half of them crashed out halfway through.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, it's a pretty deep start list here. But still, I think he did the climb really fast. So I think he's just climbing at a good level. Tomorrow's stage, I don't know what's going to happen. It's I wish we had coverage for the start. I think you can get really strange when there's an absence of Remco, Pogačar, Vingegaard, and a new team on the block. We don't know how decathlon race. When Visma turn up at a race, they have their style of racing. You know what they're going to do. When UAF Pog, you know what they're going to do. I don't know what decathlon are going to do tomorrow. They have the race favorite. Do they pretend they don't? Do they take up too much responsibility? It's 234 kilometers tomorrow before a key TTT, 3.7k meters elevation gain. We have an 8k 6% climb in the first 20 minutes that they start with, then a long, like a 20k climbing section in the middle, then about 30k's from the finish, a 4k 6.5% climb, some short hills before a sort of flat-ish finish. You can call this a Michael Matthews, Dorian Godon stage, but this is hard to control.
I agree with you. And I think teams should try and benefit from that, in the sense that if Decathlon takes a stage on similar towards today's stage, for example, then they'll try and look at EF to control break formation. If you're EF, then you can try and spark that bluff by sending, Michael Leonard in the breakaway as like a counter to see, okay, Decathlon, we're in the break, what are you going to do now? That kind of potential there. It's not really something that traditional teams do, though. But on the other hand, what's his level this year?
Sean Quinn was in the group today, dude.
Pretty good.
Sean Quinn is only good in the Dauphiné, and there he's class.
And Tour of the Alps this year. Come on, give him credit.
Sean Quinn, I swear in the Dauphiné 2 years ago, he was like really good.
in the one where Derek G was sprinting for victories. Am I?
Sorry, that was
inventing
four years
2023.
ago. He was third in a stage of the Dauphiné.
Okay.
No, today he was in the group. He's on.
We can't pretend he's a Dauphiné specific rider if it's 4 years ago since his last result at it.
I think Sean Quinn is like good specifically at the Dauphiné, and I think tomorrow they have to put him in. He can win from the break, dude.
My point is, if you're a fringe top 10 GC rider, try and go in the breakaway. Luke Tuckwell. Is anyone going to control Luke Tuckwell?
Yes, I think EF are going to honour the jersey.
Good luck.
Baudin said in an interview.
Look at their team.
Baudin said in an interview they'd honour the jersey.
The strength is not there to control a 25-man attempt breakaway.
They obviously have to go and... Just because you won one... This is what happened to Ciccone. Just because something good happened doesn't mean you have to ruin future chances. Yeah. Just because they won the stage today doesn't mean... What would their plan have been before this race, EF? Tomorrow is Ben Healy's stage win time. 100%. Yeah. They're going to go on the break. I think they know that. I think Healy and Quinn are in the break, and I think the break is going to win.
Like, in terms of other riders, just because Ramses de Bruyne got second, which is a fantastic result, by the way,
no one's scared of him.
On today's stage,
in GC.
No one's scared of him. Go in the break. Luke Tuckwell, half of the peloton doesn't even know who you are yet. You're a fantastic rider. Very underrated, by the way. Go in the breakaway. Like, people can benefit in similar ways from the breakaway as they did today. If anything, tomorrow's stage is more obvious the breakaway. There's no way Ineos looks at this and thinks, oh, we control this for Godon. It's too hard, right?
He's won 6 World Tour races this year, has he not?
Yeah, but 2 of his teammates are GC leaders.
Like, let's run through it. I know we're taking a while, but I love stages like this. They can end up being super boring, but thinking about... It's more interesting to me to think about how tomorrow's going to play out than, like, is Vingegaard going to win his 5th uphill finish? Okay, so who pulls first? First, you got to get Tarling over that first climb where the break's forming. So you got to wait for Tarling, right? To pull.
It's not happening.
Well,
I'm just telling you.
I'm not. You don't know that it's not happening. You don't know.
It's not working, is what I'm trying to say.
Then you got to pull with Tarling, and then Depluce. It won't fucking work. It's impossible. How are they going to do it? Depluce has to turn into like Vasil Kirienka 2.0.
What does Lotto Intermarché think Matthew Fox can do here?
I don't know. Where did he finish today?
138th. A weird lineup.
Zimmerman's
Weisstraffer's going to be in the break.
Zimmerman will be in the break. He's won a Dauphiné stage before. I'll bet you anything. He's going in the break.
Weisstraffer, I'm telling you too. He's in every break.
Yeah. I agree,
Giga
Benji.
Lost time today. Has to go in the break tomorrow.
I'm struggling to see how Josh Tarling and Depluce are going to control 50 people on parkour tomorrow. Please.
Simmons has to go in the break.
I'm telling you, there's a percentage chance though that EF helped them.
But what if Godon goes in the breakaway with a teammate?
Oh, now you're talking.
Now I'm talking. With Oscar Only. No, just kidding.
Yeah, Only and Depluce in the break. That's actually that's the higher chance to win, right? Than controlling.
Yeah, but there's no way Only. Like
sorry.
Unfairly, sorry, wait. I was unfairly disrespecting Only earlier. Now you're unfairly disrespecting Only.
I meant Depluce and Godon. If you have Depluce as the like keep it together guy and Godon.
Oh my God, Carlos Rodriguez still exists.
Yeah. He and Nordhagen had a non-explosive off at the back.
Mid-off.
So what do you think? You're thinking break, nailed. You're saying nailed on break.
I'm saying nailed on breakaway.
I'm saying honor the jersey could come into play.
Fair, but I don't think they're strong enough to do it, is my assumption there.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time figuring out who's going to win the stage, though.
Ben Healy is going to win. Healy or Zimmerman.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit boring to pick Van Healy. There's no prediction competition here. I can shoot my shot and lose. Yeah. That's the fun part.
Oh, Van Hills is going
to be in the break.
Van Hills.
Yes. I think Luke Tuckle will stay in the peloton, but
Nah,
I really want him to go in the
on the break.
breakaway. Yeah, I don't think so either. My pick for this stage is going to be Crickets. What race did we see Marco Frigo do well at this year?
Tour of the Alps, he's normally good.
LBL, no.
Yeah, Amstel, he was cooking.
Normally I'd say Marco Friga, but every time I pick him, he disappoints me.
I'm going Zimmerman.
You're going Zimmerman.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going with... What was the first few names I said?
I'll add Ramses.
Ramses de Bruyne is a pretty good pick, actually. I'll go for Yannis Vazar at Tudor Pro Cycling.
Oh, he won. Did he win the little uphill sprint in Alula? So he's kind of quick.
Yeah, shockingly. I didn't actually remember that.
Yeah. It was like 15% uphill, but okay.
Lost time today, and I think he tried to follow, so that's my only downside.
Yeah, that's no good. But anyway, you've locked that in. I'm going Zimmerman. You're going with Yannis Vazard. I think we're going to hear a lot of interviews tomorrow morning before the stage about not spending your bickies before a TTT. Obviously, that's work nonsense.
Yeah.
Just they take 120 grams an hour. Just recover. It's fine.
Yeah, just have some hay fever in the run up to it.
I've had hay fever for a month now. It is cracking me. Ever since I said allergies don't exist, I got hit by the hammer.
You said hay fever was woke 2 weeks ago and it doesn't exist, basically.
Yeah, so...
You were literally promoting the ivermectin usage to solve hay fever on this podcast.
I actually can see... I can see there's so many horses in my suburb. My window at my office is open. There's just horses 10 meters away. Sometimes I think I'm like kind of inhaling hay all day. And like, I was like, am I a horse? Anyway.
Wait, hay fever is not related to hay, dude. You know that, right?
We need to speak offline. Thanks for
Are
listening.
you serious?
Thanks for listening as always, and we'll be back with Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.